Welcome to Seven Rivers Sports. I'm your host, Terry Erickson. Each week we bring an inside look into sports, wellness, fitness, try to entertain you, educate you, inform you, and we will do that today because guess what? One of our best guests is with us again as we catch up with head coach Mike Schmidt from the UW-La football program. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me again. It's great to be back.
As we tape this show, Thanksgiving Eve.
Mm-hmm.
What's important to you when you think about the Thanksgiving holidays?
Well, I think that when you look back at what Thanksgiving really is and what I heard a coach this week, it was actually Will Muschamp at South Carolina said, Thanksgiving's not a holiday, it's a meal, so we'll be practicing on Thanksgiving. And I've been thinking about that one a lot this week because it isn't. It is a time that we take out to say thanks and be grateful. And I think being grateful is really such a thing because we don't really take time scheduled out of our days and out of our months and those kind of things to just be grateful for what we all have. And so it's a time to really, that we should be doing all the time, but get a chance to say thanks for everything that we have.
Well, let's go down memory lane a little bit.
Yeah.
Think back to your life. Grew up in Menominee.
Yep.
Good family, nice parents.
Yep.
Met him at the game at
Sure.
Stout. Well, some fond memories of you on Thanksgiving Day.
A lot of football. A lot of football growing up, whether that's playing it or just watching it and consuming it with that. But we're always together. It's always been all about family. And I've got my mom and dad, and I've got a little sister actually who lives in town. She's not little. She's a grown-up, I guess, now. But my younger sister, Beth, who lives in Holman and see all the time now, being together. And it's really been a time of Thanksgiving, been a time of family, and really been a time of certainly football has to be on that docket as well for us. So I think when you look back on it, it's always really been all about that, and hopefully someday we'll be playing on Thanksgiving weekend here, and we can start thinking of that our players in the future will think of Thanksgiving as a time they were in the playoffs.
Well, last time you were on the show, just before you started your career here, we talked about family, and I know you have a wife and two sons, Scout and Sonny,
Mm-hmm.
and they're important to you. And so many coaches and people that are busy like I am, kind of just don't really pay attention sometimes, or put family as deprioritize the importance of it, but you've seemed to find good balance.
Well, I don't know about that. I think we can always do a lot better with it, and certainly we're trying to. This year we were able to, I was able to get off the practice field and literally walk off the practice field and go get my kids every couple days a week this season. So that was great, and having them be around a little bit more than I have in any of the programs in the past has been great. So I don't know that we're doing a good job of it, but I think that we're always trying to, and it's such a balance that you're trying to walk with really everything. And I think something that gets totally lost is your friendships, as you get older, that you're so consumed with your family and your job and your career that your friendships don't get a chance to continue to grow. And so trying to keep those as a top priority has been tough as well. And so, yeah, it's always hard. We can always all do better.
Well, I know coaches struggle at your level, Division II, Division I in particular. Mm-hmm. Reading the bios of successful coaches at the Division I and at the professional level, they struggle and to try to find time. And I know your involvement, your schedule with knowing your coaches and knowing your meeting and practice schedule must have been difficult because you submerged yourself in it. And what was a typical day like for you during the season?
Well, we're up and at them pretty early, and some days I'll either be in there really early, like 5, 6 o'clock, or we'll be. Some days I'll get my kids ready and take them to school, or whatever the case might be with that. But we're in pretty early, and then it's trying to cram all that stuff in, and then Monday nights we're late at night. We have our meetings with our players during the afternoon, and then at night again, and. Tuesday nights is a little bit later. I usually earlier get a chance to cut out and get my kids right after practice, so 6 o'clock or so. And then Wednesday nights are late night. We've got special teams meetings, our final game planning meetings. So we're in pretty late night on that thing, talking about 10, 11, 12 o'clock, those kind of things. And then we got to taper off at the end of the week and get a chance Thursday night to get home and get yourself right for Friday for your your last day, and then Friday nights we're out at high school games and watching all the local kids. So
it's not like John Gruden who, in his book and studying his schedule, he'd sleep in the office, and well, a lot of coaches at that level are 18, 20-hour days.
Yeah, and we have those days certainly too. What was his thing? Like he woke up at like 3:20 a.m. every day or something like that because he bought an alarm clock, and that's when he woke up. And yeah, I think that's interesting that he can say that and look back on that now, now that he's out of it and he did it for a long time. But yeah, I think you got to find what's the balance for you as a coach? Where can you be at your optimum level? How much sleep do you need? How much time with your family do you need, and those kind of things, and really making sure that you keep your priorities straight.
Well, let's talk about the off season a little bit now, because you're obviously, your schedule is not quite as intense.
Right.
And you're getting a little bit of a reprieve, catching your breath. What's it like now?
Actually, the off season is worse here right now because of recruiting. We'll be out on the road, and we have been a little bit already prior to Thanksgiving, but next week we'll be out and we'll be for 4 weeks out every day at high schools, 5, 6, 7, 8 high schools a day. Talking with players and selling UW-La Crosse football. So actually our time commitment is actually a little bit more because there's a lot more hotel rooms and there's a lot more nights away and some of the things like that. So, it's all about recruiting and selling UW-La Crosse football, and we'll do that until, through January, and then we get a little bit of a chance to just really focus on the guys that we're bringing in to campus for the visits and things like that.
Well, again, today our guest, head coach Mike Schmidt, UWL Eagles. A lot of people have they asked me this question: what's the difference between the recruiting rules in Division III compared to 2 and 1?
Well, there's a lot of differences there. I mean, even from 1 to 2, there are a ton of differences. The first part is that they can't be out on the road until December 1st. They can't be seeing recruits off campus until December 1st. We can be. We get a lot more flexibility because what do we have to entice players to come other than us and selling our city and our universities? We don't have scholarships to give them. So for those guys, there's such an equal playing field that there's a lot of rules that have to be in dates and dead periods when they can't talk to recruits or can't see recruits off campus. For us, we really have a lot of free reign. We have unlimited text messages and calls to players. We have, because they know that it's Division III coaches doing that. Whereas, like at the next level, there are people that are just tweeting for other people to recruits or to players, where we can't really have a ton of social media interaction with players. We can direct message players with that, but there's so much more of it at that level than there is at ours.
Are the coaches in the schools, are they accepting for you, your staff, to walk into the school, talk to students, take them out of class, and so on? Is that a challenge?
It is a challenge, especially when you're talking about maybe like an Arrowhead in Wisconsin, a Kimberly in Wisconsin, where every school is going to be through there. I mean, every D3, D2, D1 school is going to be going through there. So it's tough because those kids got to go to school at some point. The suburbs of Chicago are certainly true with that as well. I mean, every school in the country is in Chicago recruiting kids, literally, and so those kids might not ever go to school if the coaches didn't set some parameters for it. But I think that's really the key, is really having and creating and establishing those relationships with the high school coaches. A lot of people, and I think that it's certainly true across the board, all divisions, don't deal with the high school coach a lot anymore. They get the direct information, whether that's on social media or just get the cell phone numbers of the players and deal with them, whereas I still think there's so much value and merit to having that relationship with the high school coach, developing that relationship with their parents, those kind of things that we'd like to take a little bit more of an old school approach to that to get in front of those high school coaches.
Speaking of coaches, I've been able to meet your entire coaching staff as I visit with you once a week during the season, because we, of course, televise all your games here on KQEG. And you have you've assembled some quality people on your coaching staff.
That was our number one objective. Let's make sure we got the right people, first of all. Let's make sure we have the right guys. And I talked about this a lot through the spring. When I came here, there was a lot of alumni that said, let's get more coaches, more coaches, more coaches. We need 8 more coaches or whatever it might be. And while it would be nice to have more coaches. The key is making sure that we have the right coaches in place, and we certainly did that by a great mixture of young coaches and older coaches that we have on our staff, and just all quality people. The first guy you got to mention is Jake Landry, our offensive coordinator. I've never seen, first of all, Jake Landry. I've never seen more an assistant coach at the Division III level get more publicity and love than Jake Landry does. But it's all well deserved. Great coach, great guy. He's a superstar in this profession. He is going to be a phenomenal big time coach at some point in his career.
Well, let's keep him around La Crosse for another couple of years
I'm
at least.
trying on that, and he will. He is. He's going to. He's committed to seeing this thing through as much as I am. He really is. He jumped in head first on what we're doing, and boy, a ton of success. You know, I mean, you talk about it. We were almost statistically last in almost every category in the league offensively last year, and we were in the top 4 in almost every one of those statistical categories this year, and with the same guys, with the exception of Tarek, our quarterback. But boy, Coach Landry does just a phenomenal job.
Well, you know, you had. I was impressed with all your coaches. Your defensive coordinator kind of bothered me a little bit, but
a defensive coordinator, if he wasn't the head coach, he probably would have been fired a while ago.
That's just a little humor on the show. But your special teams, of course, your line coach, Mike Anderson.
Yeah,
who's been there forever. Like 2 decades now.
23 years.
23 years is
23 years.
You just and we're going to talk at the second half of the show about the culture and how that's changed. But you have assembled some high-profile people that not only know the sport, but really have a good personality and are able to connect with young people.
Yeah, that's really been the key. And in all sides. I mean, we had Johnny Brenner, who was a German professional coach running our special teams. Phenomenal guy. You talk about a guy, I mean, there's a guy that's been living in Germany his whole life. He's coached 2 seasons in America coming over, but you know, he comes over and just instantly the players love him. I mean, we like threw a party for him when he was leaving. It was hard for our guys to see him go back to Germany, and he's got to go back and go to his life. He's a police officer and coaches over there. But boy, just the quality of relationships he was able to establish, and that's really been the key, is trying to get our guys around us, try to get them to establish these relationships and really get them on the same wavelength with us, and that they're having just a wonderful experience and feel like this is a place that they really look forward to being around in football.
Yeah, you know, I met him, by the way, and I didn't realize he was back in Germany,
Yep.
but that's a big loss, and I'm sure you'll struggle perhaps to find somebody of that quality to replace him.
For sure, and he was free, so that was kind of hard too. I mean, to a guy that's free.
Kind of like the guy that does this show, he does it for free too.
Exactly.
So I know what free is all about. Well, we're going to take a halftime break. Of course, you know what halftime's all about.
You got it. Make some adjustments.
That's right. We're going to make some adjustments here, and we'll be back more with 7 River Sports right after this.
LASIK surgery at Mayo Clinic Health System.
Well, I was very nearsighted. I couldn't see 3 feet in front of me without things being blurry, so I had to wear glasses.
We screen patients. We try to make sure that they're appropriate candidates for LASIK. That their prescription is within the range, that it's reasonable to do it, that they have a good understanding of what they can expect.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team
who listens to what your needs are.
We install carrier comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, your comfort is our business.
Welcome back to 7 River Sports again. Today, our guest, head coach Mike Schmidt, UW-La Eagle football, as we catch up, talk about the 2016 season. Well, breaking down the season, kind of a tale of 2 seasons. Started out with 5 wins, scoring incredible points. Luther 45 points, Ripon 45, Carroll 41, River Falls 35, and then Stout 42 points. And we broadcast all of the games. And then the 5 losses, which were a challenge, but Whitewater and Oshkosh Platteville all going to the postseason. Thoughts on the season?
Well, it seems like that because of our record, that it was 2 seasons, because the wins and losses didn't come through. But really, I thought that our guys and our play, we knew that our 5-0 start, and we were receiving rankings in the top 25 and those kind of things. We knew that those were a little inflated by where we were at. We knew we weren't ready to really play at that kind of a level. I don't think in terms of saying that we had arrived or anything like that. And I thought that our offensive production throughout the entire year was just phenomenal. I mean, we were able to score 29 against Oshkosh, the most that anybody had scored against Oshkosh. We were able to score 40 against Platteville, more than anybody had scored against Platteville. We were able to score 22 and put up 506 yards against Whitewater. I mean, our offensive production throughout the entire season was tremendous. We just didn't play good enough defense to give our offense a shot, but boy, our guys competed in every game. There was nothing that was just a blowout that was an embarrassment. I mean, we were in every single game. We fought until the very bitter end on every one of those games. And, boy, really proud of the culture that we're setting. And I think the next step now is that the expectation has to change for where we go from here, and that we have to win those games in order to really get back to national prominence.
You do. We're going to talk about culture. Before we do that, takeaways from year number 1, 2016. Strengths, your passing game, best in the conference, 23rd in the nation. Play of Oxton, defense allowing 163 yards, passing yards per game. Those were your strengths. Any others?
Yeah, I mean, we were really good on third down both sides of the ball. I mean, we were 31% on defense, getting off the field on third down. That's phenomenal. That's a tremendous number. And especially for how poorly we really defended the rush throughout the entire year. I mean, that's a really phenomenal number to say that we were in some short yardage situations and we're still able to get off the field. And we were over 50% on the year on third down offensively. So those are really things that we can build off of, that I think we've really set up a nice structure for how we're going to move forward. You know, what's important for where we have to get to. Running the ball, stopping the run, obviously going to be our biggest keys as we move forward. And that really comes down to the depth of our personnel and being able to compete in this league. And you got some of the best players and the best teams in the country. As you mentioned, 3 playoff teams in the country. So, I mean, we got to find a way to be able to run the football at some point better, because I think you're good in the red zone, offensively and defensively, if you can run the ball, stop the run. And we weren't able to do that, and really cost us a lot of opportunities at some victories.
So weaknesses, the injuries, of course, to Kruger and Garvey. Yeah. We followed that, of course, again, broadcasting all of your games. Depth seemed to be an issue, and maybe some more consistent short yardage defense. When you reflect again and debrief, weaknesses, am I right on that?
Yeah, I think you're right. We got to find some more depth. I mean, we had a couple injuries that came through, and really throughout the year started piling up with starting with Jalen Clark in the Ripon game and losing him as a tailback for us, and then we lose Mankoski late in the season, our backup running back, and the injuries that we sustained throughout the year, and that doesn't include, we lose Reese Felton, who's an all-conference defensive lineman. We lose him to an ACL injury in January of last year, and those injuries just started to pile up on us, I think, at the end of the year, and we ran into a really tough portion of the schedule where those guys couldn't get back healthy because of the physicality of the games. And so we've got to increase that part and got to find a way to coach a little bit better and execute a little bit better on all ends.
And of course, I should mention one of your strengths, your passing game, obviously, with Tarek at quarterback. But Joel Oxton, just a tremendous season in the record books.
Yeah, what a phenomenal year for him. I mean, just really was a guy that sets a ton of records for us and really goes out with a bang, plays as well as anybody did in the league, in my opinion, down the stretch. And what a phenomenal career Joel had, and gosh, we wish we could have him back for another season. But and as you mentioned with the passing game with Tarek, I mean, Tarek set the school record for total yardage in the season. What? I mean, he's been here 1 year. He got here in June. It's not like he went through spring ball. I mean, just what a great year for Tarek, and pretty excited to have him back again next year.
One of your goals when you took over was to sort of reconnect with alumni and maybe get more involved with some previous coaches, Roger Herring, Larry Terry. Talk about that.
Well, I just actually had coffee with Larry the other day for a long time and see Coach Herring quite often throughout it. And I think it's been great. Coach Terry's been out at a lot of practices, spoke to the team a little bit and those kind of things. And they both take on some different roles within our program. So those two have just been great mentors for me and really supportive of our program and what we're doing with everything. But, the alumni following has just been phenomenal. It really was. I mean, we had a game over at Carroll, the game over at Carroll in Milwaukee, and alums everywhere, and Carol actually let us host an alumni function on campus, and the amount of support and people coming back, and just really the interest. I mean, you talk about buzz around the program. I mean, I think buzz is real when people are talking about us, whether that's in the community or within the alumni, about seeing what we can do from here. I think that's really been such a first positive step.
You know, all families, businesses and so on try to develop a good culture. And one of your goals when you took over, as I reflect back on our previous interview and meeting with you, is building a championship culture. Jeff Jansen writes a book talking about how to build a championship culture and talks about the different kinds of cultures that are out there in the world. The corrosive one, which is toxic and negativity. The country club one, where it's a sense of entitlement, which you see quite often. A comfortable one, not being pushed too much. You don't want to move from your comfort zone. I've seen this a lot. A culture called the cutthroat culture that would do anything. The supreme thing is to win games. You're trying to build a championship culture, and here's what I think are some of the things that you have built, which I'm curious as to your reaction. Strong sense of mission and purpose in a championship culture, starting with selflessness. Team first, individuals second. How do you do that?
Well, I think that they all have to feel like they have an individual purpose within the program, that they're all a part of the group, you know, that there's a purpose and an exact route for them to be the most successful that they can be, and trying to communicate that to those guys, and making sure that they know that they feel that's through a lot of the things with the scout team, or recognizing guys that might not get a lot of stats throughout the weekends and those kind of things. It's making sure that we're all appreciating our role within the program, and making sure that we know that we appreciate their role as players, whether that's as Joel Oxton, our best player, or whether that's as number 103 who's on the scout team. It doesn't really matter.
Relationship building. Now, that's what you're big on. Joel Oxton said this. Mike Schmidt, I'm grateful for being able to play for that man with his enthusiasm, what he brought to the program. Relationship building. Tony Dungy talks about it. The world looks at wins and losses. The good coaches and the programs are all about the impact you have on the team and the individual.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're about. I mean, that's what's been interesting. I've been asked a ton about how do you rank year one? You know, how do you look back at year one? And you'll never win enough games. Does that mean that we don't want to win all 10 games that we play in the regular season and move on to be a championship contending team? Absolutely not. Of course, that's what we want to do. We want to be a championship contending team. But I think how you get there and how you sustain that is through a culture of love and positivity and respect, and allow your players to grow and treat them in the right ways.
Developing enthusiasm and energy. Part of building a championship culture starts with the head coach, like Jim Harbaugh. Attack each day with a level of enthusiasm unknown to mankind.
Yep.
The culture that you have brought in terms of enthusiasm and energy, positivity, as Andrew McGlenn said to me just today when I talked to him about the culture. He said, nobody points fingers, it's positivity, it's relationship building. Coaches enjoy it working for the head coach.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, and that's got to be, I've been talked to a lot about that. It's the easiest thing I've ever done, to be totally honest with you. What is your purpose for why you wake up and show up every single week? You know, why do I show up and coach? Well, I have an undying desire to win a championship at UW-La, and for our players to have the national championship experience, the best experience in the country, an enriching experience in their life. And if you can wake up and just stand your 2 feet on those purposes for what you're doing, how hard is it to be excited about what you get to do, right? I mean, and you live that. I watch you live that every day. That when you have a purpose for what you're trying to accomplish, it makes it pretty simple to have a lot of energy and enthusiasm for what you're doing, and of course that sets the tone for every.
Absolutely. Noah Risch, who I followed when he played at home, and said this to me today, that Coach Schmidt brings an incredible amount of energy and enthusiasm. He has a fond memory of you at the Rob Wagner Cancer Benefit Dance Show, where you got up on stage and danced, and I said to him, Noah, you know, I'm involved with Dancing with the Stars as a Red Cross volunteer board member, and maybe I could get him to come and demonstrate his dancing at the Dancing with the Stars in 2017.
I think you would want that. I am a pretty good dancer. I do have a lot of talent and experience as a. I don't know that it's a lot of talent more so as much. It just is I give a lot of effort at it. So I think it's the show, not maybe necessarily the talent.
So if we saw you dancing at a wedding reception, what would be your favorite dance? Do you have the electric slide
just
or what?
Freestyle, just freestyle. Just letting me do my thing and explore the space and do my stuff.
You mean just get rid of the rest of the people on the dance floor and it's all yours?
That's right. That's exactly what it is. It's not about the moves or the style. It's more so about the enthusiasm and just the effort that I put into it.
Well, the culture of champions raises the level of play of their employees, family members, athletes. Did you do that?
Yeah, there's no question that our staff did that we all, and really the players do that too with each other, that we all try to take that next step up. And I don't think that you can bring a guy, if you want a guy to come from 3 levels down, you can't just pull him up. We're not all strong enough to bring a guy 3 levels up. We got to get people taking steps in the right direction to do that. But that's all about standards and having standards, knowing what the standard is to be a great football player or a great football team. Where do we need to get to? And then if we're not meeting those expectations, those standards, that there has to be a punishment. There has to be something that deters that kind of action and brings and then brings those players back up to that championship
accountability,
level.
another important ingredient of a championship culture. Well, we could go on and on for quite a while yet because it's such an enjoyable interview visiting with you. But I know 2017 is going to be exciting. We'll continue to bring the people in the community each and every game. And your schedule, I looked at it, you're playing the same teams, non-conference. Of course, the rotation in the conference changes, but we're going to see a very similar schedule, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, we've got a tough stretch this coming year. We get this is our rotation on getting Platteville, Whitewater, and Oshkosh right in a row, right in the middle of our conference season. So we better get ready to go early on and get us into that level in that conversation with them.
My coach used to say, put your best foot forward each and every day. So when you look in the mirror at the end of the day, you have given everything possible to be successful as a team and as an individual.
Amen. Good words to live by.
Exactly. Well, it's been a pleasure, and we'll have to have you on again. Mike Schmidt, the head coach at UW-La, as you begin spring drills in April.
April, we'll be here before you know it.
Exactly. Well, anyway, thanks for being on the show, Mike.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right. LASIK surgery at Mayo Clinic Health System.
I can see. I don't have to wear my glasses for driving, to go to the movies, for reading.
And I think it's a wonderful thing to offer people that freedom and independence of lenses, whether they're contact lenses or glasses, to be able to function every day from the morning to the evening and not think about it.
For more information on LASIK surgery, contact Mayo Clinic Health System.
At Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, we have assembled a championship team
who listens to what your needs are.
We install carrier comfort systems that improve the comfort, efficiency, and the air quality of your home and workplace.
We serve you with highly trained technicians who are prompt, friendly, and honest.
For Gold Star treatment, turn to the experts, Carrier and Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning.
Schneider Heating and Air Conditioning, your comfort is our business.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed our interview with Coach Mike Schmidt, UW-La Eagle Football. Excitement continues for that program into the future. We take a break from high school basketball this week, but we'll bring you games again all throughout the season on both the boys and girls sides. Hope you can watch our rebroadcasts. Please contact us for a topic or a guest idea, as we always are looking to improve our show for you, our viewers. Next week, we'll take a look at UW-La Eagle men's basketball with head coach Ken Cable, along with Ryan Cruiser and Zach Schradel. We hope you can join us for that show. I'm your host, Terry Erickson, thanking you for joining us here this week on Seven Rivers Sports. Hoping you will have an active and a healthy day.